Hi, I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, and welcome to The Fierce Files. Now, what I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is why I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. Now, I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your career, but in your life. And I want to make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com. Now grab your pen and get ready for today's session of The Fierce Files. Hello and welcome to this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, for years, I held an online virtual summit called the Slay Summit, which was the catalyst to The Fierce Files. So every now and then, I will share with you our most popular interviews from that summit. So listen in as I share with you one of our most requested.
Today, you are in for a treat because this is one of my good girlfriends that I'm bringing to you today. And beyond just that, she's someone that truly makes sure you stand in the authenticity that is you. So please allow me to introduce to you Monica Cost. Now, Monica is a Pathfinder. She's an internet television host. She's an author and a speaker. Now, Monica has created a powerful link between one's core values, your personal fulfillment, and professional success. Now, her mission is simple: to create value-aligned strategies for professionals, entrepreneurs, and personalities. So please help me welcome Miss Monica Cost. Hey, girl.
Hey, Nicole.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to try to keep it as professional as I can because Monica and I can kiki and start laughing. And so I'm going to try to stay focused and not go into too much girlfriend. But you guys know, those of you that have been with us all week, you know I can't help but be girlfriend. So, but I'm going to try to stay focused. So with that, tell us a little bit about why, why values? How did you come up with this? I mean, what's so interesting, but let me just say this before she goes in, because I know, by the way, if you don't have a pen, because Monica's going to go right in. I know her. If I know her like I think I do, you better get a pen out. So the thing that I find so intriguing is that values is a conversation that all of us think is like common, but oftentimes so many of us walk around and we haven't even sat down long enough to figure out what our values are. So tell us a little bit about how you came to this great work and really began to make it the mission behind everything you do.
Yeah, I shouldn't call it interesting, but it's just one of those evolutionary things is that people usually come to a decision or an epiphany about something when they're having crisis. And I guess in that regard, I'm no different in that at some point in my life, probably at age 35-ish, I had to face a bunch of different truths in my life around my professional life, my emotional life, my professional life, my aesthetic life, my emotional life. Like every aspect of my life had sort of come right to my face to say, is how you're living aligned with actually who you are? And for me, it was on paper, sort of, and visually looking from the outside in, my life looked, there's no such thing as perfection, but it looked pretty good. And so people would always compliment me on it, my family, my job, my look, you seem so strong. So there are just all these compliments all the time. But yet in my belly, there was this raging unfulfillment that I couldn't identify, right? Because if I went through the list.
Right, let me stop you right there because I know somebody, just that right there, and she's not done, just that right there was what you came to the Slay Summit for. So I want you to go into the Facebook group and out yourself because here's what happens, and Monica's going to go in, but she just said, is how you're living in line with who you are. And some of you right now know that the way that you're living is not in alignment with who you know yourself to be. And that has put you at this crossroad that you know you're ready for more. If that's you, go into islaytoday.com and say, Monica, girl, you stepping on my toes. Say, Monica, you're talking to me and you're stepping on my toes. And I'm asking you to do that because I want you to realize, and I'm excited about that because that's the same place I was in, Monica. I look really successful on paper, but I hated, I began to wonder, whose life is this? And how the heck did I get here? So this is good. Anyway, keep going. I just had to stop you, so keep going.
Yes, no, absolutely. And so I had to take a look to see what the problem was. And what I realized was that my core values were not aligned with my process. And what I mean by that is most people, if you ask them what they value, you know, usually they'll go down the list of God, family, work. There's sort of those three things. And what I'm talking about, though, is your personal process, right? So some people value communication more than they value knowledge. Some people value consideration more than they value open-mindedness. And there's these things that make sense to us because they're really our true way of being. The problem is that from the time we're born, the adults in our lives tell us what we should believe. So depending on your environment, right, you were told to be courteous, you were told to care about knowledge, you were told to care about excellence, consideration, communication, networking, whatever those values are, because they were quote unquote positive, a lot of us didn't question them. Right. The problem with that is when you keep going down that same path and you say, you know, my mother always said, or my teacher always said, or my mentor always taught me, and you stick to that, you start using those, you know, it's what I call your, you know how you have a GPS, your geographic positioning system. I call it your TPS, your truth positioning system. And if you're using communication, consideration, and knowledge as your coordinates for your TPS, but what you really care about or your true values are open-mindedness, excellence, and creativity, then you are utilizing someone else's coordinates to get to your particular destination, in which case you won't recognize the journey.
Ooh, that's good. Right there. That is so good. Like, say that again. Look, she's talking so fast, I can't write, and I'm taking notes too. So you talking so fast, and I'm like so intrigued. I'm like, ooh, shoot, I need to be taking the notes. So say that one more time, because that was so good.
Yes, so our values are our coordinates that we should be using. Our core values are the coordinates that we should be using to get to the destination. If you are using other people's core values, then that's when you don't recognize the journey. That's when people wake up and say, how did I, you know, it's kind of like finding yourself literally lost, like you were in a car just driving because somebody gave you directions, although you knew the way you wanted to get there, but they said, no, go this way. So you took their way and then you got lost. It's not that their way was bad. It just wasn't yours.
It wasn't aligned with who you be. And
at
I'm
all.
gonna tell you guys, I'm out myself, and Monica knows this because we've had deep conversations, and she's holding back. So I'm gonna tell you, go all the way and stop holding back. But listen, so when Monica and I first met, I said, oh my God, I really wanted to get up and throw my shoe at her because she was talking to me about my own journey. And anytime I say throw something at people, I'm a church girl. So anytime somebody's doing something really good in church, you want to throw, you want to hit somebody. So listen, when I started my first career, people said to me, I'm gonna keep it real, Nicole, you're cute. You should be in entertainment. So the value in my neighborhood, I'm from South Central LA, and I'm telling this story because somebody needs to hear this, and I know this. Somebody said to me, you know, when you're from the hood, at least my hood, if you're cute, you're supposed to meet a man to take care of you. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So then everybody started saying, okay, well then, and I realized their value was my outside appearance, which is so, that could be gone tomorrow. I'm not saying I don't value that I'm kind of cute, but that's not who I am. And so I listened to what everybody else said, and I woke up one morning successful in the entertainment industry, doing great, working on the hottest TV shows, going to all the Hollywood parties, bumping elbows with the stars, living the dream life. And I said to myself one morning, how the heck did I get here? Because it had become my nightmare. And it only became my nightmare because I woke up to the fact that I didn't even know my own soul. And so somebody that's with us right now, you look successful. You have the 2.5 kids. You got the car. You got the house. You got the designer handbags. You got all these things that say you're successful. And I'm doing my little quote fingers as I'm saying this. But you lack feeling fulfilled. You don't feel whole and complete. And that's the exact conversation that Monica's having with you. So some of y'all need to rewind this and listen to it again. Because just in the 5 minutes that she's gone in, she's given you context to why you've gotten to a place where everyone else says to you, you should be happy where you are. How dare you want something different? How dare you want more because you've gotten to this pinnacle that so many people want? But what you did was use somebody else's TPS. That's so good. Anyway, sorry.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That is
That's
right.
good.
No, that is totally fine. And how, people say, how do you know when you are not living with your core values? And how I tell people is, one, there certainly is this sense of unfulfillment that you can't necessarily put your finger on. But a good way to start to identify that is to think about the things that really sort of, as people say, get your goat, the things that get you on a soapbox, the things that really upset you, the encounters with people or the things that people say that set you off. On the other side of every one of those interactions is a value. For instance, consideration is one of my values. So there was a time before I started doing this work where people who didn't say thank you when I held the door or when I let them over in traffic, or people who played really loud music would really evoke an emotional response from me. Now, do I like it? No, because it's a value confrontation for me. But what I realize is that we all don't share the same value system. So that was eye-opening for me, because the people who don't say thank you also don't care if you say thank you to them.
Right.
Because it is not
a value
something
for
they
them.
value.
Right.
Correct. And we like to, our value system is so obvious to us that we expect everybody to understand and to fall in line with it, which is where we end up sort of saying, I don't like this person. I just can't deal with her. Well, if you can look past that and say, you know what? I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Here are ways that, or portions of the journey that this person and I can walk together. But we can't do it for long, because at some point, right, you're going to take your coordinates and go your way, and I'm going to take my coordinates and go my way.
Right.
So the other part that played into this was the reason why I lived so long in what I call the land of make-believe, or the LAM. and in the LAM, perception matters over truth. So in the LAM, when people
wait, you got to hold on, because you roll over nuggets, girl. So in the land of make-believe, perception matters more than the truth. Somebody needs to tweet that. In the land of make-believe, because everybody won't know what LAM is until they listen to the whole thing. So right out, in the land of make-believe, perception matters more than the truth. Oh, that is so good. Okay, sorry. When you say a nugget, I have to stop to make sure that somebody hears that. Anyway, so go ahead.
I appreciate that. So in the LAM, people say things like, if they hear that a person went to Harvard, they say, oh, so-and-so is so smart, right? Now, it's the perception. They actually really don't know. And what do you mean when you even say smart? If a person gets promoted to the title of senior vice president, somebody might say, oh, Jackie is so successful. Well, do we know what success means to Jackie? Have we even, or we're just throwing it out there again because our society has taught us that A equals B. Now, here's the problem with that. When you start to achieve, quote unquote, positive societal labels, popular, jet setter, in the know, successful, all of that, wealthy, then it feels really good in the moment to get those labels. However, if they're not aligned with your values, the process that you're using to achieve those labels, then the euphoric feeling of getting them is temporary. Hence, why people go home and feel empty. So in the outside world, you're getting the labels of jet setter, go-getter. The other thing that it does is it often causes people to not take risks. Because if I'm successful, if you've labeled me successful, if I do something and fail, then what will you call me?
We're going to stop here and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for more. Ladies, do you have your ticket to join me at the 2019 Be the Answer 2-day intensive? Log on to BeTheAnswerEvent.com to learn more. And this is my official invitation from me to you to join me in Boston on October 4th and 5th for an event filled with other women just like you on a mission for more. Whether that more is to create a business alongside your big corporate job, or to get clear on how your intellectual property can and should produce your paycheck, or to generate multiple streams of income in your current business, or anything in between, you need to be in the room. Log on to BeTheAnswerEvent.com to register. Plus, when you register by June 1st, you get $200 off. Listen, it's me and you for 2 days where I give you the step-by-step action you need to move your business into real profit right now. I can't wait to see you there.
Now, let me ask you, because she's going all the way in. This is really good. But tell me, because there was a time, and you started telling your story, and I interrupted you, so I'm sorry. And then we went down this other path, and it's all good. But when you discovered this for yourself, you know, share with us the defining moment, like, because I know it wasn't easy for you to just all of a sudden have this epiphany with all this yummy stuff, right? And then to shift your own direction. You know, tell us what that was like, and what did you have to let go of, or what did you have to say yes to in order to begin this journey for yourself?
The final straw was at my job. I was a commercial real estate broker. That was my last position before leaving to run my company full time. I was a commercial real estate broker. I happened to be the first Black female commercial real estate broker in the state of Massachusetts in 2006. And so with that came all kinds of labels and opportunities and panels and boards to sit on. And it was on the front page of the business section of the Boston Globe. And so those labels that came with it started to feel good. But as I continued down that journey, again, the money, you know, I was making good money and all of that was good. I just used to be physically ill walking in the office every day. And it had nothing to do with the environment per se or the people. But what I realized was that my values were not aligned with the job. And then that made me take a look at all the other areas of my life where I realized that in the majority of my life that I was label chasing. And that I had become so accustomed to chasing labels that I forgot to check in to see if the way I was getting to my destination was actually in line with who I was.
Ooh, wait, stop right there. Stop right there. Somebody needs to out themselves and say, I'm a label chaser. Literally. If you've been chasing title, you know, I call these people Facebook famous. So you look really good on Facebook and you want all these likes on all the things you're doing, but you're not doing them for the reasons of moving your purpose forward, your values forward, your calling, your whatever that is. I want you to out yourself and say, I'm chasing labels. You know, it's interesting to me, Monica, even in thinking about this conversation, I was talking to a girlfriend the other day who so badly wants to get married. And she said, but you're married. I said, but you got to understand, I didn't want to get married. I was done with men. Done. Because I realized I had been chasing a label. And so when I met my husband, I said, I'm not getting married. We could be great friends. So you could be my friend. And to be quite honest with you, you could take me to dinner and spend money on me. That's how I felt. So, because I had gotten over the fact that I'm done with men. I'm done with even trying to chase that label. Now, I would never said it back like that back then. Matter of fact, I wouldn't have said it like that before the last 5 minutes. But what you just made me realize is that's what I was doing. And literally because I didn't chase the label with Daryl, he's really my best friend. And he gets me so much better than anybody else because I was all of me unapologetically. And if he didn't get it, like the men that didn't get it before. So I'm saying that because so many of you guys don't even realize that you've been chasing labels. So many of you are in this space right now and you're a label chaser. And if you, Monica just stepped on your toe like she just stepped on mine because I was a label chaser. I'm I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones and I'm a recovering label chaser. So that's how I was in my entertainment career too. I had every great title. I worked on every great show and I can list them all and I know you watched them. But none of that matters to me now. If I was at a press event in New York and I said, I'm not trying to get press because I want people to know me. I'm trying to get press because I want to serve more women. And there's a big difference between chasing the label to look Facebook famous, and I say that because so many people do chase Facebook famous, and really running to serve in the full power of your gift. So sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about labels is, and I often say this in my talks to the audience, is I say, you know, I could leave here today, and some of you could go back home and talk to your friends and family, and they could say, what did you think of Monica Cox? And half of you could say, I thought she was amazing, she seemed confident, blah, blah, blah. The other half of the group could say she was off-putting, I found her arrogant, but they all heard the same presentation. The difference is the filter through which they're processing me.
Ooh, that's good.
I can't control that. So the filter that they're using is their value system. Now, if there are people in the audience who value humility, who value creativity, right? I'm just making that up. And so I see, let's say I get up and I seem very regimented and they think that I bragged a little too much on the things that I've done. If their values are million, then I've created a value confrontation for them. And so they now have decided to label me something based upon their filter, which I am completely against labeling people in the first place. Because here's the other issue. Let's say if I come into contact with one of them and I don't remember them from the audience because I never met them because they didn't want to meet me because of the value confrontation. And we end up speaking and they ask me to come and speak to the young girls in their program. And I say yes. And I do it pro bono. Now, all of a sudden, they're calling me generous and altruistic and helpful, right? When just the other day, they labeled me as arrogant and off-putting. So we, unfortunately, will take a circumstance and we will label an entire person based upon an experience, which is wrong. If you lie, it doesn't make you a liar. The fact is just that you lied. What you're supposed to do with it. Correct. And then now you can say the person lied. That's a fact. The only thing you need to do from that point is to decide whether or not you want to walk further with that person or not. There's no need for labels.
So, but when you made this shift, and I know every time I ask you this question to tell your story, I interrupt it because you get good and I get excited. So, but when you made this shift, so you went from this huge first black woman in Massachusetts, and I know those of you that are not familiar with Massachusetts, that's huge, right? To be in the commercial real estate arena, right? When you really realize, after going to work and getting sick and not, and some of you guys, that sickness happens on Sunday night because you dread going to bed because you got to get up Monday morning. Some of you guys, that sickness is you get to work and you just feel like, dang, I don't feel motivated to work today. So that sickness looks different on all of us, right? And so when you began to realize, wait a minute, this sickness is that I'm really not meant to be here. How did you come to that epiphany?
Because there were so many areas in my life where it was happening. Now, I had run my company. My company started as a personal brand company back in the 90s, and I'd run it part-time. And I ended up having a conversation with the person that would become my angel investor. And he pointed out that when I spoke about real estate, it sounded more like a chore. Versus when I talked about the personal brand company, he said my eyes lit up. Now, one was extremely profitable, and the other one was something that I now know that I was purposed to do. So the other areas are in my relationship. I had to take a look and realize that while I was married to a phenomenal human being, our values just weren't aligned. We had the same destination in our view, but we had completely different journeys on how we were going to get there. Emotionally, I had to take a look. So the epiphany was because it came so fast and furious. Now, here's the thing. When I decided to make these changes, people who don't understand what true authenticity and value alignment means were scared for me, right? They were scared what it would look like. They were scared that I was going to fail. They were scared of me losing the lifestyle. They were scared of what people would say about me. And the noise gets really loud. And if you don't have a way of quieting the noise within your own spirit, it will cause you to get sucked back into the land of make-believe. Because it really does feel good. Because with that, Nicole, comes invitations to things. It comes, right? Because you get on distribution lists, you get invited to certain things. And when you turn that apple cart upside down, you might lose some of the labels and also lose some of the people. But once you get on the other side and become value aligned, you will never turn back again. The level of peace in the journey will never compare to the potential labels that you might get.
Oof, that's so good. And I'm going to tell you, every now and then, I'll be honest with you, I do miss the parties that I used to get invited to when I worked in entertainment. But would I give up where I am now to go back to one of those parties? The answer is no.
Well, here's the reality of what I know about you. Is that if you really miss them, you, Nicole, would find a way to get on the list.
Okay, now,
I'm just saying.
This is how you know when your girlfriend's on the phone, because then she's going to try to out me in front of all of y'all, and I love you for it. But she's right. I could still make some of those calls, but I won't.
You don't want it bad enough.
I'm not meant to be there. Right. And every now and then, someone will say, "Oh, don't you miss it?" Not at all. Because I was living in a nightmare. I was living in the land of make-believe. I had become this person that everybody else told me I should do and be. And it's not, and the same for you, Monica, you have reached this level of success, and you have become this woman that, although you look great on paper, although you look great on every front of the cover of this and the cover of that and be on this board and that board, it wasn't who you were born to be. So with that said, if you could give our listeners 3 steps that they need to take right now to move into, what do you call it, value-aligned living, right?
Value-aligned living, or the LOTE. So the LOTE is the opposite of the LAM, right? The LOTE is the land of authenticity and truth. So my mission in life is to move people from the LAM to the LOTE. I don't care if it's an organization, a person, entrepreneur, professional, whatever. In the land of authenticity and truth, your core values are your North Star, not the labels. So 3 things that I would say is, and it can be overwhelming. So what I want to say is you do not have to turn the entire apple cart upside down. You can pick one bad apple at a time and decide how you're going to cut out the rot. Your values will let you know that. And as you're building a business, it will be so easy to get pulled in a million different directions, to think that you should do it the way someone else did it just because they experienced some level of success, to listen to society's ways, to, follow the 1, 2, 3s and ABCs, which there's no such thing as one formula that works for everybody. And if you have no understanding of what your personal protocol is or your core value system, then you will easily get lost. So I'm going to say identify those core values and then get an accountability partner.
I love that too, because, I've noticed a lot of clients that come to me after they work with someone that gave them a bunch of scripts, and said, here, do this. And it's like, how, first of all, if I give Monica a script, now I could be or Monica gave me a script, let me say it that way. I could be a whole lot of things, but the one thing I know I can't be on any given day is Monica Cost. So I can all day long try to take all these notes that Monica just, spewed out that I wrote from her and then try to go teach it. And I'm going to fail every time because my gift is not her gift. And so and when someone gives you a script and they don't even know who you are, now I will say success does leave clues. So I'm not saying you can't learn from someone else's success, but you can't do it the exact same way they've done it. So understanding what your values are and what your gift is and how to position both of them to profit is critical. And I'm going to tell you, when I was in business for 17 years, and many of you have heard my story, 24 years I've been doing this, but 17 years in, I had a huge epiphany moment, and I realized that I was failing, that I was living in the land of make-believe. I looked good on a piece of paper, but I was making $13,000 a year. Do you know why I was failing? Because I had been using other people's cookie cutters. I was like, oh, well, she's doing that. Let me do that. Oh, and if she's doing this, let me do that too. And I hadn't stopped long enough to look at my gift and how to position it. And just that shift in my business moved me from $13,000 over $200,000 a year. So those of you that are saying, Nicole, oh my God, that's where I am and I'm ready for my more, I can't wait to see you at Be The Answer. Again, go to BeTheAnswerEvent.com. So with that, Miss Monica, I love you and I appreciate you more than you know.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, I want you to walk away from these episodes with value, so grab your pen and answer either one or all 3 of these questions. Number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do differently as a result of what you heard? So you may have heard something you've already heard before, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different because of what you heard. Number 3, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So what was something that showed you that you're headed in the right direction? Now, I want you to share your answers. Share your answer to either number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do different? Or number 3, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com and use the hashtag FierceFiles. Now, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into our community to deepen our journey with being the answer someone needs and in being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and be fierce.